So yesterday, a guest checks out of a 2-bedroom apartment and takes all of my furniture with them. We're gonna talk about that, updates. Another guest refused to leave the property, kept the keys, and I had to cancel the reservation. I'm gonna talk to you about that, the law around, like the lease law around it as a host, and how I'm gonna get my money from Airbnb, from their host guarantee. And additionally, we're gonna talk about the Airbnb bug that you all have been suffering through. Geez, I've actually got a way to fight this bug. Tips for you on that. And then yes, I'm not just pouring coffee, but I am actually cleaning in a suit. We're gonna talk about why I'm cleaning in a suit too. So let's get right into it. All right, welcome back Airbnb family. So I'm cleaning in a suit because I was in a suit before I found out that I had to be cleaning. I am kind of needed last minute here in Dallas. There was a death in the family for a couple of my cleaners and they couldn't work today. And so sometimes as a host, even at scale, nothing's ever truly that simple. So we're a little short-staffed because of the holidays already, and this, of course, situation has led us to just be like short-staffed enough that I had to jump in and help. So, happens. So, a little tip for you. I'm cleaning 4 units at the same time in the same building, and because of that, what I'm doing is I'm running all the laundry in all 4 apartments first because the laundry takes the longest. We've already talked about that before. So, come with me as I clean, all right? We're gonna talk about the robbery first, okay? Okay, so the robbery is one of 2 separate resolutions I'm dealing with Airbnb right now. For those of you who aren't following our Facebook page, we had a guest stay for 8 or 9 days, and they checked out, possibly early because we walked in the day of their checkout, and all the furniture for a 2-bedroom was completely gone. Absolutely just nothing left. Sorry if I go blurry, you know, lenses don't follow that well, and I don't have it on autofocus, so you have to deal with blurry Sean today. So, essentially, when we arrived, we found out that the furniture was gone. So the first thing you do is you call the police, file a police report. As a business, I thought my employee could do this. This is not true. You cannot have an employee file your police report in Houston. If any of you know anything about the law and how to get an employee authorization to represent a business with the police, I would love to know that. So that's something that I had to call in and file a police report. They can take it over the phone, thankfully, so that's good. Then you have to, of course, create a resolution with Airbnb, and you have to do it before the next guest checks in. Otherwise, you can't get the host guarantee. The problem was Airbnb removed this user from the Airbnb account from the Airbnb platform because their account violated their trust and safety Airbnb standards. Which means I think this person was doing like a run of thievery and got caught before our reservation ended, right? But Airbnb didn't send me a message that said, hey, this reservation of yours is now officially high risk. They should have gave us a heads up, but they didn't. Sad. So with that said too, after that, you need to, of course, replace your stuff and invoice the guest in the resolution for the costs and the damages. And so we had to move a guest because obviously there's no furniture in the apartment. And then we lost that reservation because we had to cancel it because they weren't happy with the only space that we had left because it was smaller. We only had a 1-bedroom left. Airbnb will not reimburse you for the loss of business. And I need to talk to you about another reservation because that's a huge deal with that. And I'm going to talk to you about how I'm working around that. So I'm going to have my furniture company send me an invoice for all the new furniture and the cost of delivery and everything, and I'm going to supply Airbnb with that invoice. That way I can get reimbursed faster because I haven't paid the furniture company yet, but you get it, right? Get that invoice in, get the resolution started. So that's what we're doing about that. I'm going to keep you posted on how this ends, whether Airbnb pays me my host guarantee for my furniture, how long it took me to recover. We're going to talk about it. So there's another reservation that happened on the 19th. The guy checked in and was supposed to leave the 21st. He did something called a holdover. And in the, let's see here if I can clean and talk. So in the leasing world, a holdover is where somebody keeps the property beyond when they're supposed to, and you have to evict them. Well, he left, kind of. So the way a lease ends is when you like leave an apartment or a home, you have to return the keys, have all occupants leave, and remove all your personal property. Well, he left and took his stuff, but he kept the keys. And he left 8 p.m. the day that somebody was supposed to check in. So we could not check in that guest. We lost a reservation that cost us like $550, $600 for the reservation. And there's like blood on the mattress, so it was a mess. It's just an absolute mess. So this guy stayed beyond his checkout time into a new day, 8 p.m. that day. But he kept the keys. So since Airbnb is not going to reimburse me for the loss of business, the guy still technically had possession of my property according to holdover law. So I'm going to, of course, try to pursue this guy Roderick for replacing the linen sheets, the mattress. We're going to charge him for the cost of replacing the keys. And then the nightly rate, our base rate, not our discounted rate, but our base rate for each single night that he stayed with possession of the keys. It doesn't matter if he was sleeping there, it's the fact that he had our keys and could walk into our property at any time. He had access to our property, which means he was residing in the property. So my Airbnb resolution will be that Airbnb, I will seek through Airbnb if Roderick does not pay as part of their host guarantee to pay me for the holdover days. That's my workaround on that. So, robbery was fun, Roderick's stay was fun. Now let's talk about the other two things that you really need to know going into 2019, and one has to do with this Airbnb bug that all of you have been experiencing if you have a co-host account. So let me wrap up this, and we're going to move on to another unit and keep cleaning and keep talking. This is just disgusting. Makes me sick to my stomach to know that Airbnb could have avoided this whole situation with this bug, and we could all still be getting paid, right? So for those of you who don't know much about the bug, let me bring you up to speed. Airbnb, what they accidentally did is they swapped the co-host, primary co-host, and admin permissions on a lot of things, including who gets paid. So what happened to me, and this is how I discovered it, I've got about 56 accounts, about 40 some of them are active, and all the payments stopped updating. Like normally this one account would have most of the revenue, like almost $100,000 a month of my revenue would go to one account. Well, it stopped at about $42,000 this month, and we kept getting new bookings, but the payouts weren't updating, right? I wasn't getting any more money for the month, and I couldn't see these guest reservations. Like it was just grayed out dates for the calendar that I couldn't open back up, and I'm like, what is going on? Well, apparently the primary co-host could see all the new reservations, but the admin account could not, and the primary co-host account is getting paid for those new reservations. Well, since this happened, Airbnb has made some changes, and now the admins can see the updates, but they're still not getting paid. So I had a guest reach out to me last night about this, and that's why I figured I'd reach out to you through this video and tell you kind of what I think you should do. So if you are like me and you also own your co-host account, make your primary co-host account the app login, right? Log in on your app through the primary co-host, but then for all of your admin accounts, log in on a browser, right? So my phone, I have 4 different accounts logged in. I have 3 different browsers like Safari, Chrome, and Microsoft Edge or something. And so that way I can do resolutions and refunds through the admin portals, but then I do all my like push notifications, guests are talking through the app. That's the best way to do it. Now, there is an issue too. Airbnb has designed their website to open or to force open your app whenever you're trying to do something. So if you're in the resolution center or trying to make an alteration to a guest and you click on something in the browser, it's going to try to open up the app. To prevent this from happening, because it'll say you don't have permission, you don't have permission, and I bet a bunch of you have been through this. So what you do is hold down on whatever button or link you're trying to open, and it'll pop up like an options window and click open in a new tab. So when you open up the Airbnb's new window, like the resolution page, in a new tab, it'll actually load it there and it won't force load the app. So that's how you use your admin account on the browser, is if it ever tries to open up the admin app version, but the admin's not logged into the app, you can then keep it on the browser that way. So the guest the host who reached out to me had a question about why she's still not getting paid. She's like, I just changed this and I'm still not getting my payments. Well, the truth, I think what she was expecting to have happen is when when she switched herself back from admin to primary co-host, right? So there was a separate account that was primary. She switched her admin back to primary. She was hoping to get all those payments redirected back to her admin account. But that's not gonna happen because those payments have already been assigned. So what you need to know about this is Airbnb has a uniform way of assigning who gets paid for a reservation. They either do it on the date that a guest books, and when that guest books and the money gets taken out of their account, that is when they decide to pay either the co-host or the admin or whoever is the paying party. Otherwise, they do it when they cut the check, right? So the day after check-in would be when they would pay the co-host or the admin. I have a creeping feeling that it's actually when the person books and when they pay Airbnb and the money goes into like an Airbnb version of escrow. I think that's when they decide who gets paid. So even though you switch from primary, like from admin back to primary co-host, all of the queued reservations will still get paid to the current primary co-host. Make sense? Sorry to give you that news, but that's just the way it is. Man, I feel so productive. I'm cleaning.